Hey, I want to show you guys how I made this bow from start to finish and transform this desk to this. This project is super simple. All you'll need is a hot glue gun, glue sticks, pair of scissors, and your ribbon. I used 2, in fact, to make a total of 6 bows. You'll start by cutting 6 pieces of the same sized ribbon and then 1 shorter piece that will wrap around the bow. From there, you'll take 1 piece, hot glue one edge of it and fold it over so that both edges are connecting. And please be careful, there is a possibility of burning yourself. Then you'll move on to the second one and do the same thing. Put your glue on the edge of your ribbon and fold it right over to match the opposite side. Be sure you're holding it in place so it doesn't move until it dries. I'm now using a bow I already created to match my sides up. I want to make sure all of my bows look the same. So once you create your first bow, you'll use that as a reference to create your next bow. Once you like the alignment, you'll go ahead and glue onto one of the pieces and attach the other. Be sure not to get it on your previous bow once you start on that. From here, we're going to align our next piece with one of the directions we have our previously made piece in. I do apologize in advance. I did not realize how high my hands were at the time. However, I put 1 flap on the front of the bow and the other flap on the bottom side of the bow. From there, you'll check the width of your previous bow just to make sure it looks the same and you don't have to turn it any. And then you'll hot glue each side down. If you have any questions about it, you can leave them in the comment section. I'll do my best to get back to you guys as fast as possible, as I know this is time sensitive. The holidays are around the corner. My entire reason for making this bow in the first place is that I went to so many stores I could not find a white bow. We'll now take our 4th piece and line it up. Again, make sure you're gluing it on each side. I totally forgot to mention that this ribbon has a velvet cloth-like finish, and then on the sides, it has a wire so it kind of holds its shape. If you're doing this with a different kind of ribbon, the results may vary. So keep that in mind. If you're using one-sided ribbon, you'll want to make sure it's right side out at all times. Otherwise, you could mess up your bow. Again, if you have any questions about this, please let me know in the comment section. I am so happy to help you guys. Now that we have our 4 parts together, we're going to take our shorter piece and wrap it around the middle of the bow. There's no way for me to tell you guys what size you should cut for you to wrap it around yours. However, once you put your 4 pieces together, you can then measure out your first piece and actually see what makes sense. You'll just make sure you glue down both ends on the back side. Even though no one's going to see it, this is what cleans up the project. Next, you'll see me kind of fluff my bow up. I would not recommend this. Not that it matters with anything, but there's no point of fluffing it up until you have everything together. But because I was making this video from scratch for you guys, I was kind of testing the waters and making sure it actually looks right. And again, like I said, I'm super proud of myself for how these turned out. They look professional. I'm now going to pull out one of my bows that I already created, and I'm going to use it as reference for the placement of the legs of the bow. This part is critical to make sure every bow is identical or as close as possible. Once you have the piece where you want it, you'll fold the edge of it up on the back of the bow, glue it down, hold it still till it's dry. Our bow is almost finished. I'm just pulling some of the strings that came from the hot glue gun off. Now we're going to cut the tips off so that the feet are pointy. You have to be very careful about this part because if you cut it in the wrong direction, your point will be on the wrong side. You'll fold one of the legs directly in half, matching both ends together. This ensures that it's going to be even. And then from there, you'll cut from the outside, the open edge at the very bottom, up at an angle towards the inside of the ribbon. No matter which direction you fold the ribbon, it could be to the right or to the left. Just make sure you start at the bottom, cutting the ribbon from the open side, lower end, to the other side, higher end. Unfortunately, I did not measure the ends of mine to know where to cut. I just kind of guesstimated it. I mean, nobody's going to look at it that deeply, but if you are a little more specific, it's okay to measure it. And that's it for making the bow. But if you're interested in watching further, I'm just showing you how I attached some command strips and hung them around my workplace. I cut the command strips in half, dividing the top and bottom, and then I'm placing the loose pieces without the pull down arrow on it on the back of the bows. And I'm attaching those pieces to every single bow that I have. For me, this was the perfect time to actually fluff out my bowl because it's already been transported and it actually needs to be presentable now. So at this point, I'm just undoing every crease that I broke into the bowl while I was putting it together. Since the legs naturally curl backwards from being in a roll, I had to use my hand and bend the wire forward in the legs to make them curl the correct way. If you're using regular ribbon without any wires on the sides, you might need to use some heat to help it roll forward. Anywho, as you can see, I'm using the bottom half of the command strip with the arrow on the back side of the computer so it's easier to pull off. Now that all of the bolts have been attached to the back of the computers, here is the final product.